Hey guys, what's up? It's RagesSorrow here, and welcome to episode 8 of Gifts from the Gods. Today we'll be taking on Commander Zilyana once again. Having slayed her over 26 times last time, hopefully we'll be getting our item this time as we battle against her once more. Let's see what comes up, guys. See you over in the video. Alright guys, so we end out this week of Gifts from the Gods at Saradomin. I really hate to express my dislike for this boss once again, but really, the drops could be a whole lot better. Considering bosses like Bandos and Zamorak, even Armadale, have a lot more drops than she does. Granted, you do have some really expensive items now, thanks to a few things that were updated with Dungeoneering. You have the Hiss, you have the Murmur, you have the Whisper. You also have the Saradomin Sword, which is usually a commonly used item amongst low-level players. You also have the very valuable Saradomin Hilt, and you also have the Armadale Crossbow. Now, that being said, that's not nearly enough to compensate, especially with how difficult the boss itself is, and with the fact that you don't really get an item all that often at this boss. It's really, really rare. And on occasions where you do get an item, sometimes it wasn't really that good, especially when the Murmur, the Whisper, and the Hiss were really low in price. But thanks to the update with the Dungeoneering, turning things like the Arcane Stream, as well as the other two power necklaces, to having to have the Hiss, Murmur, and Whisper, it makes it a whole lot better, because the amulets themselves are roughly 7 million each, and that's a really good price, especially for just an amulet. Now, the reason why I actually bring this up is because they could do so much more. They could actually put an armor set with Saradomin. Just make it hybrid armor. Seeing as how most of the bosses here are hybrid anyway, it wouldn't actually be that far-fetched to actually make a hybrid armor set for the God of War's dungeon. And you can basically make it a hybrid power armor. Now, granted, it would probably be widely used by a lot of players, especially that have, not 99 defense, but if you have a decently good defense level and you can't really afford all that good gear, it would be a go-to armor for you. So, I don't know if anybody would agree with that. Let me know what you guys think. Because recently, with a lot of the drops that both this boss and Armadale boss drops, it's not really that good. It's not even worth doing him that much, unless you actually get a drop, which you normally don't. But let's go ahead and shift topics up. A lot of you actually seem to like where I was actually talking about the Legacy Combat Mode, and as stated in the last video, I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm actually going to be happy that we'll be getting the beta here really soon. Just a quick question, since I actually played through the beta for EOC, and that actually helped me get good with the bossing on EOC, would you guys like to see some basically beta ideas and beta guides for the Legacy Combat Mode? That way you guys have kind of a preemptive idea of how you should handle the bosses once we actually get into the Legacy Combat Mode. Or would you like me to basically just show you guys some tips and tricks for the Legacy Combat Mode, and then when it comes out, go ahead and put out the guides that I've got ideas for? That way you guys can basically get an idea of what to do if you're going to be using the Legacy Combat Mode as your primary style of play. Now, speaking of which, a lot of people did seem interested in the PvP videos. I will actually be doing those once we do get the Legacy Combat Mode. I'm actually really excited for that, because that was one of the things that I really loved about PvP back around 2008-2009. That's really when I started getting into PvP at that time. And Bounty Hunter was just so good. It was so much fun. And there was really, really no way that you could beat it. Because you could risk minimal gear, at least 76,000 in coins worth of risk, and you could end up making so much money. Now, a lot of people complained because it's like, oh, but it brought too much money into the game. Considering a lot of people were having these risk fights and losing like Bando sets and everything like that, you created a money sink for the game, which is actually healthy. And that's pretty much what bonds and stuff like that do now. It creates a money sink, and it really helps out. But, comment question of the game. Comment question of the day. What do you guys miss about old school RuneScape? Me personally, like I said before, I actually miss Bounty Hunter. I miss the old school Bounty Hunter. I'm not talking craters. I'm talking about targeting system in the wild, and if you're not in the wild, then you could lose your target. That was my favorite thing about RuneScape way back in the day, back around 2009, 2010, when we still had the targeting system for Bounty Hunter. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys miss about old school. And please, please don't do any hating towards the EOC, because you guys know that I actually enjoy this, and it's not really nice to actually bash other people's hard work, especially when it's Jagex. So, no hate towards that, please. Thank you. And, let's go ahead and move over to the price check here in just a second, and, we'll see what we ended up getting throughout the trip, guys. Peace. Alright guys, and that ends episode 8 of Gifts from the Gods. Unfortunately, we weren't lucky enough to get an item from Saradomin this time, but considering there are only 7 items, you can't really hope for one all the time. But we did manage to end up with 135,000 coins, 12 super magic potions, 30 unicorn horns, 322 law runes, 23 Gramiranars, 2 rune kite shields, 1 plate skirt, 1 rune battle axe, 6 prayer potions, 6 diamonds, 30 snake grass, 3 Superstore 4s, 4 Ranar Seeds, and 37 Rune Darts. So let's go ahead and take a look over at the tab that we've got so far. And it's coming along quite nicely, considering we're 8 episodes in. We did manage to end up with a Bandos chestplate already. We've also got the Garb of Subjugation, and we also have the Armadale Helmet. So at this point, we're just waiting on just a few more items. Hopefully we'll get the body armor pretty quickly. But let's go ahead and look at the stats for the end of this video. Alright guys, and as stated earlier, that closes out episode 8 of Gifts from the Gods. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get an item, but we have killed 52 total Commander Zilyanas, and hopefully we will end up with one of these items on screen very soon. I'm hoping it's one of the amulets, or at least the hilt, but one can hope. But I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, click that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button, and you'll always be informed of when those videos are going to be uploaded. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter. That way you can always know when videos are being uploaded, and that way you can get around that pesky YouTube sub box. But, I'll see you guys later. See you in the next one. Peace.